Good morning. Good morning, Internet land. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We're just going to give it another moment for Instagram to catch up like we do. And then when it does, we'll go live. I am wearing my Spider Man t shirt in honor of taking my niece and nephew to go see Spider Man Brand New Day this afternoon. Very excited about that. So are they. Okay, it looks like we are ready to be live everywhere. Yay. Okay. So, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of DIY Wellness, episode number 66, The Art of Making Self-Gentle Progress. That's what we're going to talk about today. I'm your host, Brian Hogan, a life coach, filmmaker, clinical therapist, and founder of the S.H.I.F.T model. S.H.I.F.T stands for Somatic Holistic Internal Family Transcendence, and it's a blend of EFT, IFS, nervous system regulation, and parts work that allows us to meet the parts of ourselves that are in conflict with grace and ease so that real change can happen. So, today, what I want to do is talk to you guys about the art of making self gentle progress because we've literally been taught that progress comes through motivation, through force, through intensity, through pushing, through Tony Robbins calls it massive action, through like total like annihilating our sense of who we are in order to put out major effort in order to make a thing or to create a thing in the world. And the thing is, it works. Massive action does work. It can work, but it's not the only way, and it's not the most pleasant way. And so, what I want to do is talk to you guys about how we got so confused, how we became so accustomed to self judgment as a way of uh, motivating ourselves, and also how to practice the art of self gentleness instead of that so that we can actually make real progress. And then at the end, for the last few minutes, we're going to do a shift practice together that's a little bit of tapping and a little bit of meeting our parts so that we can meet the parts that are. That really feel like rushing is the only way, and then also meet the parts that are exhausted by that philosophy. And so we'll give them both a chance to feel connected to our inner wizard or our self energy today. So, first thing to understand is that we have been our natural guidance system, which is a whole brain system. And when I say whole brain, I don't just mean the part of the brain that's in your head. I mean the neurons in your heart, the neurons in your gut, and all the neuronal activity going on in your nervous system. We technically have 5 brains in the human body: left brain, right brain, heart brain, gut brain, and nervous system brain. And they all do run on neurons, and they all have their own sort of form of thinking. It's just that not all of that thinking happens in words. And so, because of that, we tune out and miss some of the actually most informed and wise thinking that our body can do because it doesn't do it in language. So, first thing to know is we've become accustomed to self judgment because it is the loudest. Self judgment comes from the brain that speaks in your native tongue, which is the left hemisphere of the head brain, and that brain speaks in your native tongue, and it speaks all of the words and things that you've learned and the messages and beliefs that you've learned. And so that brain tends to speak from a place of what culture wants, or what our family wants, or what our boss wants. It speaks from the wants and desires and the expectations of the external culture, because it is the external culture that taught us language. And so because of that, we shift our locus of focus from being inside of us when we're children, when we're babies, and at that point we're also full of joy and wonder all the time unless our needs aren't being met. And we move out of that into this external locus of focus when we start learning language, because what does that mean? What does that mean? How do you say that? What do you think? Do you approve of me? It's all natural and it's all normal, and it moves our thinking from the entire body, which doesn't know language, into just one half of one brain, which does know language. And then that severely limits us. And then the type of thinking that goes on there is oftentimes very judgmental, heinous, backwards, limiting thinking, because we live in a culture that has a lot of things wrong, that has taught us that worth and productivity are tied together, that without productivity, you don't have worth. And all of these messages are then in there, and then they become part of our thinking, and then they become the things we use to self-judge in order to try to motivate. And it will work a little bit, but it doesn't work long term. It doesn't actually work to bring us the life we want in terms of fulfillment, joy, peace, happiness. It doesn't bring those things. It might bring the job, it might bring the promotion, it might bring the degree, because sheer effort and force of will can get you certain things in the external reality, but it won't bring you the peace of mind that you think is going to come on the other side of all the things, because the peace of mind is an inside job, and it happens when we move our thinking from just the one half of the one brain to our whole body. So that's how come we're stuck in self-judgment, because we're stuck in language. And what we're going to do instead is learn to practice the art of self-gentleness. And the art of self-gentleness can be practiced in 3 steps. Now, these are big steps, and each step takes practice in and of itself. So I'm just going to give them to you. And then as you do the steps, practice self-gentleness even along the way doing that. So step 1 is doubt your thoughts. Just doubt them. If your thoughts are causing you suffering of any kind, then they're not accurate. They're not fully accurate anyway, and so you can doubt them. The thing to remember about thoughts is they're made of words in the end, and so they can't ever be 100% true. They can point you towards truth, but they can't be the truth. The same way the word apple can make me conjure up a picture of an apple, and I could say crisp, juicy apple, and that can make me conjure up a picture of a specific kind of apple, and maybe even make me salivate. And I could pick the color green or red, and then that'll put all of this information in my head. And none of it is the truth, because it's all just made of words. The truth, the only truth, would be a bite of the apple, the experience of tasting, eating, enjoying, being with the apple. That's the truth. And so our thoughts can never be the truth. They can only be signposts. They can point you towards the truth, or they can point you away from the truth, because they're mere symbols. And so you may have thoughts that are pointing you toward truth. You may have thoughts that are pointing you away from truth. Either way, the thing to notice is they are not the truth themselves. They cannot possibly be. And so what you can do is step 1 is just bring some doubt to them. Like, is this necessarily true? Is it true all the time? Is it always true? Will it be true in the future? Just put a tiny little bit of wiggle room between you and the story you're telling, because the story we're telling creates our perception of reality, and our perception of reality is what we're going to get, because life is unconditionally supportive. And so whatever you think is out there is what you're going to see out there. It's called the reticular activating system, and it's a part of our brain that is very, very, very kind and loving, but it gives us exactly what we think we want, or what we believe it gives us towards our expectations. So doubting your thoughts can help you to change your expectations a little bit. That's step 1. And then step 2 is to trust now. Doubt your thoughts. And then step 2, trust your sensations, meaning that gut feeling, the hairs going up on end on your arm, goosebumps, whatever it is, the thumping heart. When you have sensations going on like that, visceral sensations around a decision or around an approach you're taking to something, they can be trusted. If you're walking down the street and your hair goes up on end and you have this visceral feeling of like, I should not walk down that alley, you're not going to have the words and the story to explain why you shouldn't go, because you can't possibly know. But you can just trust the sensation, and you can trust the sensation to guide you, and you can trust that there's wisdom in it. And there's more wisdom in those than there is in the words, because the words are symbols pointing towards something, but not the something. And the sensations are an actual something. They are actual data, and they're not just random words. Like our heart puts out heartbeats, and we can ignore it because it happens in the background. Well, our brain puts out word beats, and we're meant to be able to ignore that too and have it happening in the background. But because of the way our culture has put thinking in the seat of power and said logic and reason above all else, we now don't know how to put thinking in the background. And so we end up believing everything we think. And the antidote is just to put a little doubt there and say, these thoughts are random. They're coming because of my culture, my beliefs, my upbringing, my trauma. They are not true of me. They are not the essence of me. They're just word beats. Just like my blood isn't the truth about me. It's just my blood. There's a lot more to me than my heartbeat. There's a lot more to you than your word beats. Okay, so doubt your thoughts. Step 2, trust your sensations and allow them to guide you. And then step 3, you can translate emotions properly instead of basing them on story. So for example, when we feel mad, the story might be like, you shouldn't have done that, or how could you, or self-regret, or something like that. And those may be correct, but the thing to notice is, if there's anger, there's been a violation of justice, at least in your interpretation. If there's sadness, there's a desire for belonging. And so learning to see your emotions as guidance to help you know what needs need to be met, not to help you put evidence behind some story. The story may be true and it may not be true, and it doesn't matter. if there's emotions there, I mean, it matters. It can matter. It's okay if it matters to you. What I mean is, it doesn't matter in terms of your long-term well-being and joy of living. Like, if you can learn to doubt your thoughts, trust your sensations, and interpret emotions properly, then you're going to have a joyful, fulfilling life no matter what the story is. And so learning how to interpret emotions properly means allowing them to guide us, like learning to see in them the truth of what we need. What need is not being met? Do I need to feel safe? That's fear. Do I need to feel justice? That's anger. Do I need to feel belonging? That's sadness. And then all the shades in between. So asking yourself when you feel emotional, what do I need right now? What need can be being met? That's so much more important than what's true, what's the story, who wronged me, what's the evidence. All of that can happen if it needs to, and it can happen later. The most important thing to do is realize, oh, I have a need that needs to be met. That's why I'm emotional. And let me self-gently do that. And if that need is for belonging, call a friend. If that need is for safety, go outside, get out of the dark, whatever it is. Do what you can to meet the needs. I understand that sometimes there are some of you out there who can't meet the need in the immediate, and that's okay too. Take these concepts, and as your life shifts and allows you, bring them into your life where you can. Doubt your thoughts, trust your sensations, and reinterpret emotions based on the need you have, not the story that it's trying to tell you. So that's the whole ball of wax. And what I want to do now for a few minutes is just a short shift model practice, so we can connect to the parts of us that really feel like pushing and rushing is the only way. And that we can also then connect to the parts of us that feel exhausted by that idea, and just allow them both to be and both to have space in our presence now. So we're just going to do that for about 10 minutes. So join me in tapping on the side of your hand. And remember that this is an eyes open and repeat after me practice. So you don't need to know the tapping points, and you don't need to figure out what to say. However, if you know the tapping points and you want to close your eyes, you're more than welcome to. And I also would like it if you don't repeat any of my words if they don't ring true for you. Just say what really feels like truth in your heart, because trauma healing and the formula for thriving is truth plus safety plus a compassionate witness. So your words are the truth, this container is the safety, and we together in this community are the compassionate witnesses. So, okay, we're going to just settle in. Take a nice deep breath here and tune into that part of you that rushes, that pushes, that forces, that doesn't know how to stop and doesn't know how to slow down. And just connect with it. Notice where it is in your body. And then repeat with me, even though I have this part that rushes and pushes and doesn't know how to stop, I'm starting to realize some of that makes sense. And I accept how that feels. Even though this part might feel like it's dangerous to slow down or to stop, I accept the complexity of these feelings. Even though this pattern has been going on for years, maybe decades, I'm open to exploring it in a new way and allowing a little room for change. Not through force, not through pressure, not through effort or will, but just space to allow change if change wants to occur. Top of the head. My parts that push. Eyebrow, my parts that rush. You're welcome here. Side of the eye. I feel that clenching in my stomach, under the eye, tight muscles, under the nose, that anxiety that comes with constant pushing. Chin, constant rushing. Collarbone, always feeling behind. There's more to do, more to attain, more to achieve. Under the arm. And if I don't, then what am I worth? This part believes productivity is tied to value. I'm starting to see that now. And I can have compassion for this part to whatever degree feels genuine. Okay, stop tapping there. Place your hands over your heart like this if that feels aligned. And take a nice, slow, deep breath in through your nose and a longer, slower exhale through pursed lips like this. And just notice what's happening with these parts that feel the need to push and rush as you're inviting them into this space with you, just to be here now, just to be with, just to slow down, letting them know that they have nothing to accomplish right now, that they don't have to be any certain way, and that it's okay for them just to be here and be with you. They may be skeptical as you share that with them. Hey, we have stuff to do. And that's okay. Just reassure them that that stuff will still be there later and they can still get to it. That we're not forcing them to drop any patterns right now. We're just getting to know them and what they go through in the patterns. Yeah. Just let them know that you're here for them in whatever way they might need. And if nothing comes up, that's okay. We're not forcing. But if your parts share a need, see if it's a need that you can meet right now. And if so, allow that to happen. And when you're ready, we're just going to begin tapping again on the side of your hand, and there's no rush. And we're going to meet now some exhausted parts. The parts that are really over the pushing and the rushing and the sheer force of will. The parts that know they deserve rest and they just don't know how to get it because they don't know how to slow down. These other parts maybe won't allow them to slow down, and that's okay. So let's just invite in these tired and exhausted parts and meet them too. Even though there are parts of me that are exhausted, that are tired, that don't want to rush and push and force anymore. They don't know how to stop. And I accept these feelings right now. Even though there is so much exhaustion and burnout sometimes. And I want to embrace self-care, but it doesn't always feel safe. Right here and right now, I'm okay. And I embrace the complexity of these feelings. My parts that are exhausted. Eyebrow, you're welcome here, and you deserve rest. Side of the eye, you were meant to live in peace. Under the eye, so much fatigue, so tired, so much responsibility. Under the nose, bearing so much weight and not sure how to throttle back. Chin, these parts want to relax. They yearn to relax. And they feel stuck. They don't always know how. My heart goes out to these parts that want peace, that want stillness, and don't know how to get it. I can feel compassion for them. They make sense to me. Under the arm. And I'm here for them too, for whatever they might need. Okay, stop tapping. Place your hands on your heart again. Close your eyes and take a nice, slow, deep breath in through the nose and that longer, slower exhale through pursed lips like this. And just notice what's coming up for these tired and exhausted parts. They can't get this wrong. It's okay however they feel. Just notice. Just notice in one hand you have the parts that push and force and rush. And in another hand, see if you can picture the parts that are so tired and wish that this rushing could stop. And just looking at them both, noticing how tired they are and how much they support you and are trying to support you. And allow your heart to go out to them. not to change them, not to force them, not to fix them. They're not broken. Just to let them know you see them clearly, you see what they go through, maybe in a way that you haven't fully before, and just let them know that you're really getting this now and that you want to be here for them in whatever way they need. And just see what comes up. And again, just like before, if they share a need with you and it's something you can meet right now, go ahead and meet the need right now. Show up for your parts. And if nothing's coming up, that's okay. We're just spending time with. It's like being with a crying child. They might not be asking for support. They might not say they need anything, but our presence is enough. Just being with is enough. It's very healing. So just take another moment here. Take a nice deep breath in and allow all of your parts to tuck away safely in your system wherever they feel best. Your exhausted parts and your pushing parts, and sending them gratitude for a moment for being so willing to be here and participate today because they didn't have to. And just letting them know that you'll continue to connect with them as it makes sense going forward. That you see them now and that you're here for them now. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. If you know of anyone who might benefit from this message, then please share this podcast with them. And if you're going through anything yourself, feel free to post a question or a comment down below, and I will help you get unstuck and happy to engage, because DIY wellness means do it yourself, but that does not mean do it all by yourself. So until next week, keep taking personal growth into your own hands, and I will see you again next Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Much love.